Hello and welcome to my channel again. Um, I will review a book about happiness. I know this is such an overrated topic, and even like the phrase learn how to be happy or be happy or what is happiness, let's all have some of it, might sound quite boring. I guarantee you that this book is going to open new perspectives in which you can choose to look at happiness. Because happiness is something very subjective, it is not something that is universal. This is the book Authentic Happiness by Martin Seligman, using the new positive psychology to realize your potential for deep fulfillment. Um, yeah, so a bit about the author, Martin E.P. Seligman. He is a Zellerbach Family Professor of Psychology at the University of Pennsylvania. He works on learned helplessness, depression, optimism, positive psychology, and comprehensive soldier fitness. He has written 20 books. Yeah. I have reread this twice. I'll be honest with you, the first time I didn't quite vibe with the book. The second time, after I took some notes, I totally loved it. So I think it's a book that you should definitely take your time in reading it and understanding it. Okay, so as usual, I have my notes and I will go through every chapter, tell you what it was interesting for me, and of course, as usual, favorite quotes from the book. So let's start. Um, so the author is very anti-Freud. He says that he wants to go against the rotten to the core dogma legacy of Freud, that all behaviors try to compensate for something. Um, yeah, and I liked his observation about therapy, about going to therapy. He says that the best therapists do not merely heal damage, they help people identify and build their strengths and their virtues. I agree. I think it can be deeply traumatizing to speak over and over and over again about the trauma that has happened to you. Um, it's a way of re-traumatizing yourself, so I think it's worth it doing, maybe just to get a grasp. But I agree that the best therapy is the one that gives you tools to move ahead in life rather than be stuck on a past that you can't change, even if you talk about it like 1,000 times. Part 1: positive emotion, positive feeling, and positive character. There was a study done on the Duchenne smile, the authentic smile, the kind of smile that I have now. And when somebody smiles like the authentic way, you can see lines in here at the eyes, and it's like not a fake, like I'm trying to fake it. Wait, I can't fake it. I can't fake a smile. But when you would fake a smile, um, you would just have this, but here you would have nothing like around the eyes. A genuine smile is a smile like you smile with your eyes, you smile with your lips, like it's a full smile. And there was a study done that uh, students in a yearbook, they were contacted at 27, 43, and 52 years old. The women that had the Duchenne smile, they were more likely to be married, to stay married, and had more well-being. I was blown away. So someone could forecast your future life based on your college photos. Um, a genuinely smiling woman is simply more likely to be well wed and happy. Yeah. And a very good advice for relationships, for romantic relationships, or just plain relationships. A lot of people don't know this, but after I'm going to tell you what I tell you, take a piece of pen and paper and write down all of your romantic failures. Um, it will make sense after you will hear me. Quote: in your own life, you should take particular care with endings, for their color will forever taint your memory of the entire relationship and your willingness to re enter it. So be careful how you say your goodbyes. Be careful how you leave people, like after you meet them. Like, what's your vibe? What's your energy? I believe that first impression is extremely important. It really, like, you only get one chance to make the first impression, but also the way it ends. Like, I don't know, if you leave hungry from a date, that's a bad impression. If you leave feeling unheard, that's a bad ending. um, it's like the same idea, like don't go to sleep upset because like it's the end of the day and that's the thing that's gonna be stuck on your mind. It's the same thing in here. So be careful. Like be very, very careful how you end things with people and on what tone. And a lot of people have ruined good relationships because they let their anger get the best of them and they spilled out the beans. And yeah. There's a talk about optimistic people versus pessimistic people, which I found extremely interesting. Um, it's all about how you interpret. So, optimistic people interpret even a bad reality, a bad thing that happens to them, as something transient, something that's controllable or specific. Pessimistic people, on the contrary, they believe that their trouble will last forever, that everything that's happening to them is uncontrollable. And I agree with Martin that we need a psychology of rising to the occasion, because that is the missing piece in the jigsaw puzzle of predicting human behavior. Yeah, how do you rise up to the occasion? How do you do it? A lot of people don't know. And this is why a lot of relationships fail. This is how you can lose a good job, you can lose a good opportunity because you just don't have the tools to rise up to the occasion. So, what's a good life? The good life is using your signature strengths every day to produce authentic happiness and abundant gratification. And authentic happiness is about raising the bar for yourself and not rating yourself against other. It's very important. And I really like this aspect when it comes to happiness. You will be miserable if you will always compare with others. This goes for you as an individual and maybe you as a couple. A lot of couples, they like, oh, but the Joneses, they do it this way. Oh, but look at her, she's doing this and you're not doing this, or look at that guy, he's doing that and you're not. It's a road to hell. Don't run your own race. Run your own race and don't compare yourself. It's hell. Like if you look at your age and then you compare yourself with Bill Gates at your age, you will be depressed. Or with, I don't know, if you're a woman and you compare yourself with Monica Bellucci, like every person has their own race in life and their own destiny and their own time to do things and to be in a certain way. And comparison is definitely like, if you want to be not very happy, do it. But if you strive for happiness, run your own race as a couple and as an individual. Um, Another perspective about therapy, Martin says that his personal opinion that is therapy is usually too late. If you end up in therapy, a lot of damage has happened to you, and you need a secure person on the other side of the line to help you out. And he says that by acting when the individual was still doing well, preventive interventions would save an ocean of tears. I was really touched by this because, yeah, it would be ideal, but unfortunately, a lot of people go through trauma when they are children. Who can intervene then? So I agree with Martin, but I think it goes, I don't know, a bit. We should do it in the kindergarten, like to have a therapist there and to be able to look at the child and predict, like, okay, this child is living in an abusive environment, let's intervene, because the child will not ask for help. The children are too small and too little to ask for help. So for me, yeah, maybe it goes for adults that go through severe depression near the brink of suicidal ideation. And yeah, in that case, it's very good to intervene when that person is not so low. But it's hard because usually people don't ask for help, unfortunately. I was intrigued by a study about children and depression, and teaching 10-year-old children the skills of optimistic thinking and action cuts their rate of depression in half when they go through puberty. So we need to do this in schools. We need to teach children how to be optimistic and how to act in that way. um, yeah, we need again a psychology of rising to the occasion for children and adults alike. And a core idea, if you are a teacher or if you are a parent or you want to become a parent, it's important to teach people skills like future mindedness, hope, interpersonal skills, courage, the capacity for flow, faith, work ethic, to act like buffers against the tribulations that put people at risk for mental illness. So we need to teach this in schools and in our family more than maybe perhaps we should do math and geography. I think having life skills is much more important, and it's a much better predictor of good mental health. Yeah, I really love the quote again about children. It's very good to Notice what they do right. I know it can be very, very hard, difficult to notice what is right. I am personally struggling with this, but it's important about identifying and amplifying their strengths and virtues and helping them find a niche where they can live these positive traits to the fullest. Yeah, it's easy to notice what is wrong and to try to fix that, but unfortunately, it can leave people or children in a state of helplessness. Uh, Although you try to do a good thing, and yeah, I think it's good to it's more difficult to try to find a little bit of honey in all of that pot of other stuff that you don't like, and to try to amplify that. Yeah. Um, this is based on research, and I had like, for a moment, I didn't want to believe it, but yeah, if it's research and there are studies, I have to believe it because, yeah, science doesn't lie when you have studies. Um, a research from the University of Minnesota shows that there is a personality trait of good cheer and bubbliness called positive affectivity, which it turns out is highly heritable. So if you're a bubbly one, go and thank your mom or your dad because you don't know where you got it from. But yeah, it's basically a baseline. Like no matter how much shit happens to you, you find a way to, you know, navigate through it. You take a boat and you go through the shit. I don't know, you do something. So this is a like I was like, wow, wow. But this leaves a lot of room for helplessness because if it's highly heritable and you don't have it, whoops. Yeah. um, it's interesting that when we are in a positive mood, people like us better, and friendships, love, and coalitions are more likely to cement. Our mental set is expansive, tolerant, and creative. So if you're in a good mood, if you have a boss and you have caught him in his good days and in his bad days, go ask for that raise when he's in a good day. Because, yeah, optimistic people, like when you have an optimistic mood, you're much more tolerant. You're much like, life is so good for me. Yeah, I'll give you a raise, whatever. Like, yeah. For education, again, if you're a parent or a teacher, induce positive emotions in children because it helps the learning process. So, offer them something that is stimulating positive emotion. It can be a joke, it can be a nice memory, it can be a hug. Before demanding for a task that requires creativity, because a positive stimulus uh, will help. That was interesting. Um, is there something like a gift that we can find in depression? I know it sounds horrible to try to find a gift in depression, but there is one. Depressed people are accurate judges of how much skill they have. Um, while happy people think they are much more skillful than others judge them to be. So depressed people are more realistic. Optimistic people, they're like, they see a boat and I'm like, I have no idea how can I be a captain on this boat, but if they pay well, I'm gonna put my resume and I'm gonna learn along the way. It's like, yeah, I think it's good in a way, but you can also set up yourself for failure if you overestimate yourself, like in my example, like you never touched the boat in your life and you want to put a resume there just because they pay well. Yeah. Um, a negative mood activates a battle station mode of thinking. The order of the day is to focus on what is wrong and then eliminate it. So, this is very important for you to retain the kind of mood that you set yourself in. Will decide the way you think. It's mood and then thinking. Uh, so I think this is a good advice for anyone who might be struggling with pessimism or depression or anxiety. If you change your mood, it will change the way you think and you will look at life through a different lens. And this is very, very important. Very, very important. Um, if you're happy, um, happy people were half as likely to die and half as likely to become disabled. And more happiness actually causes more productivity and higher income. Wow. So, it is very good if you're a boss, or if you're a husband, or if you're a wife. Make the others happy because they will be more productive and they will make you more money, especially if you're in a company. Um, Adults and children who are put into a good mood select higher goals. They perform better and they persist longer on a variety of laboratory tasks, such as solving anagrams. So, mood is everything. Mood is everything. Set your mood right. Set the mood right in your school, in your classroom. Set the mood right in your company. Set your mood right in your relationship. Mood is everything. It goes before anything. Like if you want people to do certain things, to behave in certain ways, they need to have a certain mood. Otherwise, they will just not do it. Um, the very happy people spend the least time alone. They have a wide network of friends. They have good friendships. I don't think it's about the number. They don't specify it here. They say that happy people have more casual friends and more close friends. But here I think, yeah, we can all have casual acquaintances, but I would dare to say that it's really important to have quality friends. So yeah, I agree. If you, because there are a lot of people who have a lot of friends, but they have no one to cry to, like to pick up the phone and just freaking cry with someone. So yeah, I think it's vital to have those quality friendships and maybe yeah, casual stuff. Yeah. So when you meet a person that is looking for number one, and when I'm saying looking for number one, like for bad things, like when we are down, we become distrustful, turn inward, and focus defensively on our own needs. Looking out for number one is more characteristic of sadness than of well-being, because when we are happy, we want to share our happiness. But when someone is miserable, is always about them, they don't have like the resource. And maybe this will help you if again you're in a relationship with someone, if you were or you were in a relationship with someone that never had the emotional resources for you. It was always about them, but they could not deliver what you needed, despite like that is a sign that that person is not well, because a happy person has the time and resources to also think about their partner. What do they want? What do they need? But someone who is like trapped in their own anxiety and their own, they don't have the time, and they generally don't have the resources to think about you. So it's very sad, but yeah, you can't help anyone. So every person has to help themselves. Yeah, good. If you remember that I told you about the bubbliness personality, that it's a heritable thing, this comes with a very important detail. High heritability does not determine how unchangeable a trait is. And this can be a lifesaver for a lot of us because you might think, oh, I inherited this, but how could I change it if it's genetic? But again, we inherit things, but things can change. And that is very, very important. We inherit this steersman who urges us toward a specific level of happiness or sadness. Um, High accomplishments, good things, they pass. They do not lead to lasting happiness. You remember, you accomplished something. Maybe you got a new job. Maybe you got promoted. I don't know. You got that guy. You got that girl. uh, you bought yourself that necklace. I don't know. You went to that master class, whatever. How long did that happiness last? You bought yourself the dream car. You enjoyed it 1 day, 2 days. Okay, after a week, it's, you know it. That happiness is not there anymore. It's like it fades away. So these kind of things don't last. They have little power to raise happiness more than transiently. So look out for the hedonic treadmill where you think that having more money or more cars or more women or more men or more of whatever will make you happier. No, as we can see, and I will tell you, happiness is long lasting happiness. The kind of happiness that lasts has nothing to do with material goods. Yeah. Mm, a curiosity fact for you. Once the gross national product exceeds $8,000 per person, added wealth brings no further life satisfaction. Even the fabulously rich, the Forbes 100, with an average net worth of over $125 million, are only slightly happier than the average American. Boy, do you feel good finding this out, huh? Because I bet there are more people in that category watching me now than the 100 top Forbes people. And now I can already hear like Joe saying, "Oh, so I have a chance to be happy." Even if I'm not gonna end up in top Forbes. Yes, Joe, you are right. um yeah, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. Money is important. Money is lovely. I love money, but it's not what is going to make you long term happy. And this, I really love this quote, how important money is to you, more than money itself, influences your happiness. If you're materialistic, that's counterproductive at all levels of real income. People who value money more than other goals are less satisfied with their income and with their lives as a whole, although precisely why is a mystery. Yeah, so if it's all about the money, if you always think about oh, you're never happy. You're never, those kind of people, they're never happy with the job. Like, I think it's good to strive for more, but I think that the secret sauce, the secret is to enjoy and to be grateful for what you're doing while you pursue higher goals. Yeah, because it's never gonna be enough. Like, it's all like, can you imagine if all of the billionaires, millionaires in the top Forbes, they would all look at number one, Elon Musk might be now the top richest, and they would all judge their lives based on the fact that they are under, they would be miserable. People with billions of dollars, they would be miserable because they would be, hey, Elon has 300 and I'm only at 40. God damn it. So, no, no, just how you think about money. It's more important than how much money you have, because there are people who have much less money than you have and they're much happier than you, because it's not about the money. Yeah. um if you're growing older, as we all are, be happy. You know why? Because feeling on top of the world and being in the depths of despair becomes less common with age and experience. Yes, we can all remember how tragic it felt, our first disappointment in love. We thought we will never survive. But guess what? We are here. You're watching me. You're still breathing, I can't live without, well, I was able to live without a lot of people that are no longer in my life, and they are able to live without me in their lives, and we all, hopefully, we will survive. But what I'm trying to say is that with age it comes experience, and you should be happy for growing older, because you get more experience and you just don't go so high and so low, you know and this is one of the gifts of growing older, and it is more than welcomed, because just like a battery, you would be like on low if you would always be high low high low high low, because it really drains your energy at a certain point. After a certain age, I can understand people who say, I want it, I want that partner that is boring, you know they're boring because they're like constant, they're chill, they're relaxed, they have their shit under control, they have like hobbies, they're happy, they don't go like up down, like or get angry all the time or have anger issues. And no, it's nice, it's quiet, it's boring. Yeah. So yeah, with experience and with age, we can become happier because we are no longer the victims of the highs and the lows. And for those blaming climate, happiness levels do not vary with climate. Scientific studies. So, sorry to burst your bubble. Uh, Religion plays another role. Religious people are less thrown by divorce, unemployment, illness, and death. So, if you have God in your life, you have everything, because a connection with a higher power, a connection with divinity, a connection with something that gives you strength when people try to push you down, it's wow. Like, try it. Try it. Call it out. Like, okay, maybe you don't believe in God, you believe in Buddha or whatever, but having this connection in your life is huge. It will make you happier. Yeah. If you want to lastingly raise your levels of happiness by changing the external circumstances of your life, you should do the following. Stop it, take a piece of paper and a pen and write this down. 1. Live in a wealthy democracy, not in an impoverished dictatorship. A strong effect. Maybe you need to move your ass from your country, from your town, from your environment. A lot of the times I came to this conclusion. You can be depressed if you're just in the wrong environment. And if you don't leave from there, you're only gonna go lower. So just find the strength to just leave. Because a lot of people think there is something deeply wrong with themselves. A lot of people just chastise themselves and they say, I'm so depressed. I'm so like, but where do you live? Do you like the town in which you live? Do you like your country? Let me ask you this. If if you're gonna grow old in this country, are you gonna feel safe? Do you want to be an elderly in your country with your medical care, with education, with the politicians? Do you feel safe? Because if it's okay, okay, you are at the right spot. But if you're like, oh my God, I'm scared for my life, no wonder you're depressed. No wonder you're depressed. I think take all of the depressed people from Eastern Europe and Africa and move them to Switzerland and give them a nice place to stay. Give them maximum a week and you'll see no sign of depression. I guarantee you. Of course, you take them and you give them Swiss money, but I'm like, sometimes you just have to change the environment. Why do you stay? Why do you stay in that crappy town with no opportunities, with nothing, or in that country? So, yeah. 2. Get married. Hooray! A robust effect, but perhaps not causal. I would say get married, but be happily married. Because being unhappily married, it sucks more than being single. So yeah, because yeah, your partner can literally like killing you softly. um, yeah, get married. Yeah, because love is the answer. Really, love is the answer because you need a partner in this life. You need someone to the romantic connection you have with your partner, with your husband or with your wife is it's like unique. So do strive to get married, not because you have to, but because you love. Okay. 3. Avoid negative events and negative emotion. Only a moderate effect. Yeah, if you can avoid it, avoid it. Don't don't go straight into the wolf's den, but yeah, just go in places and near people that make you feel well, that empower you, that yeah, you just feel a good energy. Acquire a rich social network, a robust effect, but perhaps not causal. Yeah, have a network. I would say, like, again, I would not put an emphasis on numbers. I would put an emphasis on quality. Like, have a network of people that, again, let me ask you this. You might not like the answer. If now you're going through a very shitty breakup, do you have someone to pick your phone right now, call, cry it out, and have someone be there for you? If If your answer is no, you should redefine your social circle, because you might have a lot of acquaintances and friends, but you don't have someone that truly gets you, or that you can truly be yourself in the most vulnerable moment. We need this. We are we are mammals. We used to live in a tribe, and but don't go on the extremes, uh, those people that change partners like on a weekly basis, and they always call you, hey, I gotta break up. Oh, he's toxic, she's toxic, la la la. No, I'm talking about those really genuinely painful moments in life when you just need a shoulder to cry on, and someone that you feel safe being so vulnerable. And this, I think it's really hard to do for men than for women, because men are taught to be tough, men are taught to never show emotion, and this is their demise, because women need to see that the man has emotions and that they care. So I think in male friendships, it's much more, unfortunately, much more difficult to have this moment of vulnerability of just, man, I'm just like down, man. I have a good cry. Yeah. And get religion, a moderate effect. Be spiritual. I'm not saying to, I don't know, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, and I have a strong relationship with God. Um, but for you, I don't know what religion you identify with, but get that in your life. It has, I would say, miraculous effects on your happiness. I mean, like, yeah, the shit can hit the fan so bad, and it can hit it twice. And you'll be there like, huh, I'm gonna take it because I have God with me. So, yeah, have that in your life. It's vital. Um, what has little effect? Now it is time to bust some myths. Because I was blown away. I was blown away by what I'm about to tell you. Things that do not raise your happiness or have little consequence, um, when it comes to it. Make more money. uh, more materialistic people are less happier. So if you think that, if I'm gonna make more money, I'm gonna be more happy, God be with you. Because when you're gonna go and get there, and you're gonna see, do you remember Jim Carrey in one of his speeches? I was about to say peaches. In one of his speeches, um he said, I wish everyone would become famous or rich at a certain point, to realize, only to realize that that's nothing special about it. So again, like, yeah, it's not gonna make you happier. Stay healthy. It's subjective. This blew me away. Subjective health, not objective health, matters. I was like, huh, I thought it's very important to be super healthy. Yeah, but there are people who are super healthy and still depressed. And there are people that are, I don't know, obese, or they had a heart attack, or they are in a wheelchair, and they're much more happier. Why? Because they can count their blessings. They can look at themselves and say, hey, you know what? I might be in this wheelchair, but I can see, I can speak, I can think. I'm so creative. Wow. While a person who is healthy, maybe super fit, fitness junkie, um, but they're depressed, they're gonna look in the mirror at themselves and like, they're not gonna be that happy. Get as much education as possible. No effect. This blew my mind. I thought that getting more degrees will make you happier. That's what every PhD graduate told themselves. And at the end of their PhD, they were like, "Oh my God, I, I'm surprised I'm still alive." So, if you think that covering yourself with expensive diplomas will make you happier, good luck and good riddance. Because according to the studies, doesn't matter. And now I was thinking that it makes sense. There are a lot of people, maybe you've met like farmers, simple, like, or like people from the country, very simple people, shepherds that had, I don't know, goats. And you've met them and they're not super highly educated. They can't talk about quantum physics, you know, but they're happy. They are happy. Their face, they smile, they look at them and they're like, wow, this is a person that's happy. And it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, it doesn't matter how educated you have. I am a strong proponent for education. I love to educate myself, and I think everyone should be self-educated until they die. But to make a goal out of this and the pursuit for happiness is the recipe for misery. So don't do it. Don't do this to yourself. And don't get into debt to do that, because that's even worse, because you're going to be depressed because of the debt and because the diploma doesn't make you happy. So you have double trouble in the bubble. So yeah. Change your race or move to a sunnier climate. No effect. Oh, so the dream to go to Hawaii instead of being stuck in Finland or somewhere where the sun don't shine, it's busted. I used to believe this is why people are depressed in the Nordic countries, but I'm like, well, interesting. Very, very interesting. Um, Another piece of information that will help you if you had trauma, big T trauma and small t trauma. Those who had trauma know what I mean. Bad childhood events, in short, do not mandate adult troubles. So if you went through hell while you were a child, this does not predict your future. This doesn't mean you will be a forever troubled person with no chance to shit. Don't do this to yourself. So, yeah, I know there are a lot of psychology books that say that, okay, if this happened into your childhood, you have a predisposition to be this, that. Myth busted. It's again with the genetics, if you remember, that genetic trait of positive affectivity, bubbliness, it's inherited, but it doesn't mean that you can't change it. Again, maybe you had, a lot of us had went through trauma in a way or another, uh, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't define you. Yeah. And here we can see Seligman combating Freud. The promissory note that Freud and his followers wrote about childhood events determining the course of adult lives is worthless. Yeah, I agree. Dwelling on trespass and the expression of anger produces more cardiac disease and more anger. This will surprise you, as it did surprise me, but the overt expression of hostility turns out to be the real culprit in the type A heart attack. So, you know those things like express your anger. When you're angry, say it. Don't go there. don't go into the pits of Mordor. It's like, take a pause, go and breathe, go watch a bumblebee, go listen to the wind, go and look at the cloud, and go count some sheeps. But do not dwell upon expressing anger. It's okay to say you're upset and stuff like that, but it seems to me that, according to Seligman, going like on a rant, um, think about this like this. If you're angry on an enemy or someone who has done a lot of bad things to you, and if you would know that expressing all of this anger now, you are satisfied now, but if you know you would suffer from a heart attack 5 years from now, would you still do it? And worst of it all, your enemy, you will live and you'll die. Don't do this to yourself. Breathe and, yeah, manage your anger. Yeah. Again, expressed and dwelt upon emotions multiply and imprison you in a vicious cycle of dealing fruitlessly with past wrongs. I agree. You can't change the past. I think it's good to study it in order to not repeat it. It's good to remember it. But yeah, not constantly. If you find yourself constantly going there, especially if you're in a relationship, it means that you're with a person that doesn't see you, and they repeatedly do not see you. And you should ask yourself, okay, if I'm asking from this person over and over and over and over again to see me, and they don't do it, why am I still staying? It's clear that they don't like you. So yeah, be in environments again with people that do not trigger you to go in this anger zone, in this dwelling in the past zone. um yeah, let go, let go to the ideology that your past determines the future, and learn to forgive past doings. um Forgiveness is a gift that you give to yourself. You will see that a lot of the times, maybe your abusers, they will never apologize. uh, it is a false belief that you need the other person to be present to apologize in order to have closure. um, so if you forgive, it doesn't mean that you approve. A lot of the times we confuse these two things. If I forgive him, if I forgive her, it means that I approve of what they have done to me. Don't go there. Don't go there, because the only person that is trapped is you. So forgiveness is something that you give to yourself to set yourself free, because that other person might never change. You know what? There are people who like literally murdered other people and they still don't regret it. There are people who treated their partners like horrible, horrible, and they don't regret it. What if those people that has been done wrong to will never forgive? They would be a constant victim of the abuser. So forgive, because you set yourself free by letting go of that anger, letting go of that person. That's on them. Let God and karma solve that. But yeah, release yourself. um, Optimism about the future. um, hmm. How to determine if you're an optimist or a pessimist? If you often use these two words, always, never, in bad things, you're pessimistic. It's all universal. Everyone is like this. All men are like that. All women are that. You never ever. You always, always. Okay. And if you use sometimes or lately, you're an optimistic. Yeah, sometimes like it can be like this, sometimes it can be like that. Um, yeah, and this is why I'm like, be very careful to your language. Study your language. What kind of language are you using when bad things happen to you? Do make it all personal, like in case of rejection. A lot of people get rejected and they think, oh, there must be something wrong with me. No, rejection doesn't say anything about you, like you can be Mother Teresa and no, like that guy doesn't want you, or you can be Elvis Presley and that woman doesn't want you. Like you can be polished with gold and she still doesn't want you. And it's like nothing about you. It has nothing to do with you. You can say to yourself, sometimes they don't like me. Rather than, oh, I'm never lucky. I'm never lucky. All of the time. This always happens. You know where I'm going? Yeah. Um, just dispute your pessimistic thoughts and recognize them and treat them as they are, uttered by an external person, a rival whose mission is to make you miserable. So, yeah, don't believe your thoughts. Don't believe your thoughts. Don't believe your mind all of the time. As T. Harv Eker said, our mind is the biggest scenario maker. Like, he's like, our mind is Steven Spielberg 10 times X. Like, it creates scenarios. You can go into overthinking. Um, don't do this to yourself. Don't believe every pessimistic thought because, yeah, it's not true, or always thinking if someone has done something, you assume a negative thing. Don't assume, ask. This is a very vital thing. Always ask, don't assume, and you can cast those pessimistic things away. Happiness in the present. um yeah, this is the seventh chapter. I forgot to say the numbers. Sometimes I forget to say the numbers. Chapter, it was chapter 7, happiness in the present. um Interesting. The more redundant the events, the more they merge into the unnoticed background. This this makes me think of familiarity. You know how redundant the events, if you sit in an environment where humiliation is redundant, it becomes unnoticed background. If you sit in an environment where gossip is redundant, it becomes your unnoticed background. So you absorb it like it's not even there and you take it as it's like normality. This is very dangerous. So notice the redundant events in your life and how did you normalize it? And is it normal to normalize that? Yeah. A tip, have at least one pamper day per month to surprise yourself. Yeah. Um, yeah, make little pleasures. um, there's a difference between pleasure and gratification. Pleasure marks the achievement of biological satiation, whereas gratification marks the achievement of psychological growth. So pleasure is temporary, gratification is the long run. It's like those cereals that make you not hungry for hours versus pleasure, have a chocolate now. Yeah. Um, I'm a bit advocate for not watching TV, but now I have some research to back it up because the average mood while watching sitcoms on television is mild depression.